We are live. Look at the panel that I deliver for you guys. Look at this. Two, not just first round picks, probably the first two in this year's draft, right? One and two.
So, yeah.
One and two. But it goes to show you neither one nor two are in the World Series right now. Both are in the semis. You fell to the 12 Commandments, and you fell in 3 over a month to the Big Red Machine. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Zach Ashkenazi, Jack Abady. Okay, let's get right into it. Do you want to talk about the semifinals real quickly from each of your team's perspective?
No.
Let's just go through it very quickly. I want just very quickly. Jack, we haven't had a chance to speak to you yet. We did get our meeting with T.I., which from week -3, he was saying, I'm not allowed to talk to you during the year. We're going to sneak it. Don't worry. I'll work on Jack throughout the year. Didn't work out. He almost couldn't wait to be eliminated just so he could speak.
The media ban.
The media ban was killing him.
Lifted.
Yeah. So we spoke to him a little bit about it, but from your perspective, when you see an inning like that happen, which is so shocking, yet we've seen it. We've seen it a few times.
I was on the other end of an inning like that.
Yeah.
Similar. Not the same, but similar.
None of them are identical, but we've seen it happen, like we said, in a few different games over the last 5-6 years. But when it's happening, you just, like, I didn't expect it at all. From your perspective, take us through that inning and when you realized, oh God, this is happening.
It was a rough inning. I think the whole day was going as scripted. I couldn't have scripted a better day. You know you're not going to get every big hit. You know, everyone could have said in my head, we should have been up 12-0. We had runners on every single inning, bases loaded, this, that. You know, to be up 6-0 in the 5th and then 6-1 going into the 7th after Saban makes the last out and it's going to be the bottom of the order. You can't ask for anything more. It wasn't an excruciating hot day, so you're thinking Abady is going to be able to last. It's going to go. And then, like you said, in a blink of an eye against a very, very good team, if you lose focus or you take your foot off the gas for a second and you're already thinking, you know, what am I going to do the next game? Ralph Hannon's hurt. Is Saka going to bat? I tweaked my hamstring a little bit. Am I going to need a runner? It was just, you know, we kind of lost focus on that game. AB fell behind a little bit, lost the zone a little bit, but it was so quick. It really was. It was not even enough. Like I was never really nervous until it was too late. You know, like I still said, okay, we're gonna get it now, and we kept making, you know, mistakes, you know, falling behind the count, but making a ton of errors, and they got a couple of big hits. But you know, and then in my mind, I kept saying, okay, well, we have the top of the order coming up, so if it's tied, we still have last licks, we have the top of the order,
right?
You know, or we're down 1, okay, we could score 1, we could score 2 from JT, me, but to be down 5. You know, it just couldn't. We couldn't. You know, again, T.I. mentioned it that he wanted to call timeout. I really should have called timeout. And I love, you know, when I'm watching a basketball game, I love when the team's up 20 and they give up 4 points and it's 16 and then the coach calls timeout.
Right.
I kind of almost thought that the timeout should have came like after I made the error to start the inning.
That's
you know,
still
early, just right
like
early, yeah. But just right. Don't even give it a time to marinate. Right away, nip it in the bud and go talk to AB and slow it down. Instead, you know, there's another walk and then there's a triple and then my father's telling me we got to play 4 outfielders and I'm the 4th outfielder, so I'm worried about am I going out to the outfield, then I'm coming back in and I'm not stopping the game. You know, again, a lot went into it. The most important thing is that's what 12 Commandments does. You know, they're so lethal that from 5 to the 10 hitter, they can do enough damage to turn it over to the top of the order to score 10 runs in an inning. They've done it all year round, all year long. Look at their run differential. You know,
they did it to us in week 2.
You know, and that was our Achilles heel. Our Achilles heel was, you know, big innings with lack of focus. Usually in the middle of the game, we haven't had a collapse like that. But we saved the best for last. So that was, you know, what it was. It was an amazing season. And it was something that, you know, I'll remember the team. And I had a great time. I enjoyed it so much. And, you know, clearly we lost to a team that was a superior team. That in order to compete with them, we had to play perfect. And we didn't play perfect. So while they didn't play perfect, they were able to win not playing a perfect game. That shows that they were really a better team than us. And this might be a new position for Zach on this panel, but it seems like I'm a staple on the World Series panel. I cannot get off this panel for the life of me. But, I enjoy being here. I enjoy watching the games, and I can't wait for Friday. It's going to be a great day. Kind of a different experience of a format. Every year this league gives something different. It's a standalone game 3, a standalone game 3, 4, 5. Now this year we have a 3 and 4 together on a Friday.
Very strange.
Very strange, but awesome.
And it's funny because for both of you had the different format in the semis because we had the rain out and then we had game 1 on Friday.
Our format was
So
all
let
out
me
of
ask you
whack.
about that because now to your series, I almost felt like you were helpless. You're playing left field. You're down 2-1. Okay, big deal. Even though you said it is a big deal. I'm up 2-1, but okay, 2-1 in the first inning, big deal, right? Now you're in left field, a ball that doesn't come to you. You're out of the game basically, and then you see 2 bad 1, 2, 3 inning because every other game of your life you bat in the first inning.
Right.
Now you're not batting, okay? And then 1, 2, 3 inning, 2 errors. You're down 4-1. By the time you get up, I think there were 2 outs in the next inning. Nobody on, and you're down 4-1 already. It almost seems like the break. It's so weird because I put the game together on purpose because it is one game,
Yeah.
But it almost seems like the break removed you and Farka from the game with the way it worked out, basically.
I mean, the way it broke, can't say anything else. Those 2 errors in the second inning of, the continuation, it hurt us going down 4-1, especially to a team like that. You can't do it. Credit to them, they played perfect. They really did. Getting from games 1, 2, 3, flawless. Max pitched amazing. Game 1, he completely held us down, and game 3, he completely held us down. Their defense was awesome. They played flawless, and they didn't overpower us with the bats, but like they've been doing all year, 1 through 10, they scratch it together and they make it happen. But when you play perfect in the field, then that's all you need, really. It's a good recipe.
I spoke to Zach in between the rain out and the continuation of the game, and I was so impressed of how the team was handling it, though. Because you can get so caught up in what's the rule? Should it be it didn't go enough innings and it should be starting from 0-0?
Right. Or
what if it was 1-1? Would Norman say start the game over again only because we're down by 1 and we're starting from this spot?
Right.
You could have got caught up in it, and they weren't. They were just like, this is what it is. We're down 2-1, whatever, play ball. Now, they didn't come out the way, they thought they were going to come out, but the preparation going into the game is, while one team's, trying to make it a big deal, they weren't like, let's call the commissioner's office, have 12 conference calls, complain, and then we're defeated before we even get there, because nothing's going to change at that point. Once you make the decision, it's not going to the committee.
Correct.
It was what it was. It was 2-1 when you left the field. That's how it was going to stay. But what is the rule there? Because
you could get the text also, we refuse to play if we're not starting
No,
the
I
game
know,
over,
you're
which
not
you
gonna
get
have
sometimes
that.
also.
Yeah, for sure.
So just to give a little insight, which, the continuation and the 2-1 was a complete non-factor in our clubhouse. Listen, we showed up on Friday for the continuation, and they handily beat us. But it wasn't in our heads that, we shouldn't be here, we shouldn't be playing. To go back to Sunday, 61s were adamant on starting that game 3. We just came off game 2, emotions were high, our energy was high, nothing could touch us. We wanted to play that game under any circumstances. After an inning, it was really unplayable.
It got crazy
it got
in that
crazy.
inning. It got crazy.
It was a crazy inning, and it really was unplayable. So to be down 2-1 in the continuation was not a thing to us. It was that 1 run's not going to hold us down, and we could come out and win the game. We just simply didn't.
It's crazy because the errors you made in the second inning were the easiest
bottom of the first.
ground balls. No, not the bottom of the first. I'm talking about the Friday.
But by the way, you go back to those junction of errors.
It's a crazy amount of
on
errors.
that field in the first inning and this field in the second inning, where that was it.
Yeah.
That was really it.
I mean, I still don't know how Elsack had the guts to go from first to second when Bavora holding the ball 8 feet away from him. I don't know where he was going there. And it ended up being run scores. He gets a triple. It was ridiculous that he even ran there. Why would he run there? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to draw the throw, and there's a runner on third. No idea. But I don't know how that ball got to center field there. I thought it was catchable. A little low, but I thought it was catchable.
Well, there were about 3 catchable balls on that single play, and none of them were caught.
Right.
Line drive to Ralph Cohen.
In his glove.
Dropped it. Then he still could have made the play to first. Mavora came off the bag a little bit on the scoop.
Yeah.
I don't know, and then he threw the ball away, and Jake could have caught it. So a lot of things went wrong on that play, and it wasn't meant to be for the 61.
A lot went wrong. I want to go over the rule in a second, but at 2-1, when you guys show up here, that error that Jake Braha made was the easiest ground ball, and he had to play it first and second. Farker, the guy, wasn't running home. I keep thinking, I wonder if this game went to 2-1, and now you guys come up again, and you have 10-1-2.
Well, we scored right away. We scored 1.
Yeah.
I got on with a single, and Farker hit a nice triple down the line, and I scored. So it was 4-2. Could have been 2-2 right there, but it's just
and
the way
maybe
it
even
breaks.
more because it deflated you a lot, those 2 runs, because it was
so
so ridiculous.
It was painful.
The rule
painful.
I was looking up the rules right after this all happened. The rule in the postseason, even in Major League Baseball, is you don't start games over again and you don't abandon games.
Right.
You continue from where you left off, like we did. You could continue in the middle of an at-bat.
Right.
And,
So-
and is there such thing as a 4.5? Is it an official game in the playoffs? So
So,
let's say it's
no.
past the
No.
halfway point.
Finish the
Would
game.
it be done?
No. In the
Finish
postseason,
the
you
game.
finish in Major Leagues. You
Uh-huh.
go the full 9.
So you come back the next day. It's the sixth inning.
It was never a complaint by us. We never entertained it. It didn't enter our brains. We just said it's a full baseball game. If we lose by 1, then we didn't. We lost. We didn't deserve to win. If we tie them, okay, extra innings, we get another chance. And if we outscore them by 2 runs, then okay, 2-0 ball
think-
game.
I
Yeah.
think
So it wasn't
as much
thing.
as the mistakes are glaring when you look back at that series, there's also the missed opportunities on both sides. I think Game 1 started with, again, a bunch of errors to
Yeah.
start the game.
Yeah, Mavora dropped the
2
pop-up.
outs, and they got a couple of extra runs, and you were out of that game. But then Game 2, they have the bases loaded, no outs, they don't score. Game 3, you start bases loaded, no outs, you only get 1.
Yeah.
You know,
With
like at
4,
the end
5,
of the day,
6 coming
before
up.
it was raining, it could have been 5-0, and
Yes.
then they're complaining about the rain.
For sure.
So you had those giant opportunities that, in the playoffs, everything's magnified. It's not a 14-game season where one play, one big at bat here or there doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You're only getting 7 swings in a series.
Yeah.
But minus foul balls. So you have, a guy like in our series, a guy like Jimmy who hits 700, but yet everyone unfairly or fairly is going to talk about the one at bat he has with the bases loaded. That's the game. That's the game
Yeah,
of
it's the
baseball.
game.
Is that the great things that we talk about Zach with swimming is he had 1 million at bats and he got 1 million hits. But we talk about the 7th inning home runs,
Right.
the walk-off home runs, the 3
100%.
hits he gets in the 3rd inning. Great, he has to get them. But
Right.
what makes Farka great is the home run in the 7th inning when his team needed it the most. And if he hit 444 in that series as opposed to someone else who hit 600, but he had the
Right,
big
it's
hit.
all forgotten.
That's what it's about.
100%. And that you mentioned the Farka home run. That game was also 6-0. I totally
Crazy.
forgot.
Yeah.
Totally forgot
Rain
the
delay
beginning of that
theater.
game. Rain delay theater
Key.
jogged my memory once again. Okay.
Listen, all in all,
Yeah.
to sum it up, Big Red was obviously the better team, but I think the month-long series really hurt us because we were hot. There
You
was
were hot.
No, I don't think anyone wanted us. We were hot, and then we had the bye, and then a rain delay, and then we started the series one game. It was like everything working against us. We were really grooving, and that was just the time to cool us off. And in the end of the day, we peaked at the wrong time. And everyone says you got to be playing the best ball at the right time. That goes for a team that's a 3, 4, 5 seed. But the 1 and 2 seeds this year that are in it, they played fundamental ball from week 1 to where we are now, and that's why they're here. Another team to knock those teams off, you have to be peaking at the right time, which we were a dot too early.
It's very funny because where the rain delay happened was the week after the 4-5 series you played in, and I was so worried about it seemed like an easier call to just rain it out, but the reason I didn't want to, and I was pushing to try to get the fields good, was because I didn't want the 1, 2,
delay.
and 3 seeds to be waiting
We already
so
had
long.
the bye.
Right.
You already
It's
had
a
the
double
bye.
bye now.
Exactly. So that's why I was like almost forcing it, but then I really couldn't force it. But somehow the 1 and 2 still get to the World Series. Like even with that, I guess a little bit of a disadvantage maybe or whatever.
No, it's not to take
Whatever
anything
it
away
is,
from
yeah.
them. They had the same break as us, and
Yeah.
they were locked in, and they got it done. So that's it.
Jack, what do you think of that Jimmy at bat that you mentioned when T.I. yelled at him? What was he trying to go to right, or was he just? I mean,
He was
Jimmy's-
trying to strike out. Apparently,
Yeah,
you
apparently
know,
he was
'cause,
trying to strike out. I mean,
T.I. was
Jimmy
upset.
is
By the way, with the bases loaded,
Yeah.
he might be the first guy I want up. He always gets the big hit with bases loaded.
Jimmy's the best hitter. He's the guy we want up in that situation. And you know when he's getting up, it's going to be a 3-2 pitch.
Right.
He's working it full. He got the pitch he wanted and he missed it. You know, I don't think anything to do with the approach. I think his approach was the same approach all year round. And I sent his stats this morning to him of how great he is and how great of a hitter he is. And, you know, no one should tell Jimmy how to manage his at-bats. Not me, not T.I. Again, when you see the results, you're frustrated, you know. I can tell you there was a lot of T.I. at-bats I was frustrated as well this year. But again, you know, Jimmy is a tremendous hitter. And again, who's their second baseman? Who's their right fielder? You know, if he rips one at Barsana, we're saying, why are you pulling the ball and not hitting it at pin deck?
Right.
Hit a ground ball to pin deck, you know, that we've been
You
chanting
can't,
that all
like-
day.
like-
So, hey,
Sure.
you know, so I don't fault Jimmy. Again, the results weren't the results.
Like
But-
you said, Jack, you can't tell Jimmy what to do. You go back since he's a rookie in 2011 to now. The guy's hitting 550 every year. You
Wow.
go look at the career stats, the on-base percentage. He's 100 points ahead of the second best guy. It's just
Yeah.
you can't tell him what to do. And
I also
he is
felt
what he is. He
Our
knows what
approach
he's
the
doing.
whole season and the approach that I took was I don't want anyone to micromanage anyone else's at-bats. Because as much as you're telling the guy something good, it's like a golfer when he's thinking about 12 things when he's about to hit the ball. You know, sometimes too much information is not as
Simplicity.
good. You know, you get up there and you start telling IG 100 things.
Right.
You know, you got to just say, hey guys, we do our preparation during the week. We go to KJ, we take our batting practice, we're feeling good, we're healthy.
Talking all week.
You know,
That was a
that's
big
it. Now
Chiga
you're,
message as
now
well
you're
this
in the
year.
box. You're in control. I don't want to tell you what to do. You should know. 3-1, you know, 3-2. Are you swinging? Are you not swinging? You're in control. Do what you feel is best for yourself and for the team. Don't be selfish. Go up there with an approach. But for me to give you the approach, if you don't have it already, now all of a sudden you're trying to do something you're not comfortable with.
Right.
So understand when it's first and second, the concept in baseball is we're not hitting the ball to third. When it's man on first, as much as we love up the middle, you know, if you're a slow runner, you can't hit the ball to Svi and say I hit it hard.
Right.
You got to do something different.
Right.
So knowing the concepts,
Yogi
now it's up
did
to
that,
you.
yeah.
Now it's up to you. Now I can't tell you what to do because 5 minutes, 30 seconds before you're at bat, all I can do is mess you up.
Right.
So as much as we feel certain things, I should go now. I'm going to tell Jimmy to swim at the first pitch. He hasn't swung at the first pitch in his career. But now let's ambush Nabi. Again, who am I to tell him what to do to make him uncomfortable?
Once he's
You
in
know.
the box, he's on his own.
It's over.
It's like preparing your children for life, and then they're there.
And he's not a guy who you would feel like, and he shouldn't be on his own. So again, the results weren't great at that time, but we got the big hits. We got up to 6-0, and you know now it's a glaring at bat because we blew the game.
Right.
But you know, for a guy who's
Jack,
sitting there,
in the Shake and Bake World Series
Yeah.
when we came back from 6-2, I think you said it or one of you said it. You were both here, but you said now you're being audited.
Right.
You go back and you see, you look back when Mo Haber, you know, he was swinging for a hit instead of a sack fly, which he
Right.
did earlier in the game. Now you're being
What a
audited.
good line.
There was-
I hope
and
I
now
said
we're
it. I
auditing
hope
the
it was my
odds.
line.
And now we're
Audit
auditing
the
the
odds.
odds.
if you look,
It's
there was
true.
on IG's ball in the gap that blew the game open. There was bases loaded. Yaakov was tagging at first base. No reason why the guy on first shouldn't be going halfway.
Correct.
Instead, he can't score, and IG gets stuck with a double instead of a triple.
Right.
So it took runs off the board.
Your
because we only
father
score on a sack fly.
specifically hates that tag
Yeah, I
from
hate that
first.
tag
Go
also
halfway,
from
you
first.
score.
Again,
You score,
you know,
right.
then also, you know, there's a million plays.
You're being
like
audited
you
now.
said, there's a million decisions. The better team won the series, like you said.
For sure.
They haven't lost a game since in 2 months. So till just now. So we could get to the World Series now. We think we all agree the best teams are there, and they had a great time in a very tough conditions. It was very, very hot.
It was so hot.
It was so hot. It was a long day, and usually there was no break. It was hot at 9 a.m.
But Jack, when I left the field and I went to a swimming pool, not the ocean, it was 20 degrees
Yeah,
cooler.
yeah.
Like,
Wow.
why was it so hot over here?
Wow.
Like, I feel like it was, I don't know why. I went to a pool like a half mile away from here, and it was
There was
gorgeous.
no breeze.
It
There
was
This happens.
boiling.
It's like we start the season in the freezing cold and shimmies in the hoodie, and somehow the World Series is always 95 degrees, and you're out
crazy.
here.
It's crazy, but I love it because at the video at the end, you get to show the racetrack. You get to show, people
Yes, you
blowing
love that.
away, and then you get to show the boiling hot.
Yep.
Okay, Saban as a captain, I noticed he was not here for the game 3, your game versus Big Red. I don't know if he was busy or if it's like
They
we don't
weren't
care
at
who
our
we
series
play.
either.
Yeah.
They played us. They didn't come
Yeah,
to
it was
one
weird.
series.
It was weird. I was sitting right here, and I was
So it
like,
must be,
"Where
I think
are
it's
the
a
12
conscious
commandments?"
decision,
It has to be.
because even if you're not playing the team, you come to watch
Yeah, the
every game.
61s, the
you
full
know?
team was here watching Tar Heel Stratton,
Yeah.
and the 12 Commandments who are playing the winner. Not one guy was here.
I think there are certain things you could pick up about a team from being here that you can't get on the video. Maybe you notice something, the guy on the bench. I think you got to be here. I think you
Yeah.
got to do as much
Oh, yeah.
as you possibly can to be here. But clearly, it's a decision that he made that's like, I guess it's like, we don't care who we play. We are who we are, and we're going
Right.
to do what we do. Okay. The pressure of Saban, I want to ask you this question because you were swimming. You went, 12 and 2?
12
and 2 in the regular season, right? And then you went 3 games with him.
Yes.
First 2 were very close.
Unbelievable
Yeah,
series.
very good
that
series.
First games 1 and 2 were
Great.
a real fight.
I remember
back and
his
forth.
line. He said they're not used to losing. They're
Yes.
not used to this. They're
They
not
can't
used to
handle
trailing.
it.
They can't handle it, right?
T-Pub,
Yeah.
Jack, it was classic.
But it's true. All of
It's
a
true.
sudden, you're fighting for your life. How do you handle that pressure as a captain to not let it be so much pressure?
I mean, I can only speak from my experience and my perspective. I was in a complete zone, and I don't mean like performance-wise. I mean like I was on a man on a mission, and so much so that like you have this opportunity to win. You have the team very clearly. You're 12 and 2. Saban 12 and 2. Very clearly, you have the team, the opportunity to get it done, and there's just no room to let anything else get in the way. And I was so much so in the zone that it was hard for me to enjoy the win. Once we did eventually win, I was like, still, it's hard to just flip that switch and go to maximum enjoyment.
Wow.
That you're just so on a mission that like it took me a couple days, and like once we had the barbecue a few days later, I was like, oh my God,
They're
this
still
is
on the
amazing.
victory tour. Swimming's still
Yeah.
living
Still.
10 years
It
later.
always
so
gets brought
took
up.
a little time to get the.
Took a
one of
little
those
time.
teams.
Someone asked me the other day,
It's one of
which
those teams that
do
you just
have-
always mention.
Yeah, someone-
Untouchables are like that, by the way. It gets mentioned a lot, that team.
Someone asked me the other day, what's your favorite team ever? I said, aside from Butter, which I had the best time ever, I thought it was Shake and Bake, but now looking back, the further you get away, it's swimming, because we did something so special, but in the moment, I had zero enjoyment. Like, it was
Crazy.
like I just did the job that I was expected to do. So there is a lot of pressure to get it done. And you just got to manage it. You gotta find a way to get it done, because very clearly they're the superior team. I mean, I don't know about right now, but throughout the season, record-wise,
I wonder psychologically if
I-
that's good for you or not. Like, maybe, like you go into the head. I'm not ready. I'm not here to enjoy it right now. But if we win, I'll enjoy it. Like, how do you?
it's the right way to be, I think, because the mission is to win, and
job
and
and
when you get it
enjoyment
done,
later.
okay, yeah. Now you get to look back. I get to count my rings a little bit,
Right.
as opposed to
How many do you
missed
have now?
opportunities. I have 4.
4 rings.
But the one that haunts me the most is Z-Pack. I lost in 5 games. I think about that more than I think about the wins.
Yes.
And I've said that before. It still holds true.
I feel like when you're young, you don't realize how hard it is to really, really win.
Yeah.
And everyone loses one early because, like, you don't understand. Like,
You don't seize the moment.
yeah.
But Saban and Ali know very well.
Right.
And AB knows very well. I
I
don't know about
think
their
Even look at
supporting
a guy
cast.
like Steven Shalou. I think he came in. He won his first 3
Three.
years.
3.
I don't think he's been in the playoffs since.
Probably
You
not.
know, it's like yada yada
Crazy.
yada, garbage team. He's not even
Cobras.
Cobra's garbage
Golani.
team, Golani garbage team.
Yeah,
gets traded to the Colt 45.
More
Look out,
garbage.
we-
Right.
Look out!
You know,
we beat him on
You know,
swimming.
so
look out,
so
but-
so
Yeah.
there's you know you could, even when you're in it and you're enjoying success, after all of a sudden it could go a decade.
Yeah, look at
without,
Henry. How many years has Henry been playing? I know he won on the Walkers and the Knights
Right.
recently, but those gap years, how many did he
Yeah,
win? He
yeah.
must have 4 or 5 rings.
Saban went, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, at least 10 years before he won. Maybe 12. Like, he went a long time. It was a thing when he won. He finally
Yeah, shake
won.
and bake. Saban was like insane. Like
Yeah.
there was when Maxi Deed got hurt, and no way I'm allowing them to have a pitcher. No, I'll do anything to win, because he didn't win in so long
Yeah.
that it's like he understands what it's like. So
But I don't know with the team he drafted if he and Allie could. You can't force that onto other people. You can't make them understand until you play a few years and don't win.
yeah,
His
and they
team
have a
is
lot of young
new- yeah.
players. Like
Yeah.
I don't, forget age-wise, just like youth in the league. Like Nutty, it's his second year. Barsano, it's his second year with a missed year in between.
Right.
And Svi Rishti's a rookie, and Bernie Pindek's a rookie.
Right.
David Harari's always on and off. So you have a lot of guys
Wow.
where you gotta hope that they pick up on it, and that's got to be the message that Saban and Allie are drilling home. But it's a slippery slope, because you don't want to put too much pressure on those
Yeah,
guys.
it's very hard.
So it's you gotta be careful the way you manage things, and that's the job of a really good captain. Is not so much the drafting and the setting the lineup; it's the micromanaging of the things. And to go back to the 61s, Jigga did an amazing job with that. When switching everyone's position, you can't just tell a guy, hey, you're moving to left field, that's what we think. There's a way to describe it and to do it. And Jake, this is why you're moving to short center. And Ralph
Yeah.
Cohen, it's not because you're bad, it's because you have to sell it to them in a way.
Right.
So Saban
Right.
has to do the same thing to their guys, and I'm sure he is.
Yeah,
I'm sure he is.
We saw that with the team on Wall Street. They didn't really sell it to their players.
Yes,
the changes that they
exactly,
made.
exactly. That's how you don't manage
Somewhere
it.
right now, there's 3 guys on Stratton hoping for another interview.
Yeah.
to talk about this. He's
Yes.
They're hoping we bring them up, which
Yes, and
yeah.
a couple of heels also. Bar Nathan dying for an interview as well. Okay, before we
Let's
get
talk
to the
about
World
the
Series,
games,
you
yeah.
want to get into the nitty gritty of the games?
I mean, go
No,
ahead.
I wanted to ask Jack
Yeah.
about the code of conduct and everything like that. Looking back, I was a little surprised when you drafted the team that you did, because if you want to do the code of conduct,
Right.
I would think don't make it so impossible for yourself, But then, right after it came out, people were like almost mocking it, saying, "I can't wait till we play them and
Guilty.
we watch them
Guilty.
erupt." Guilty. Okay, good.
Guilty.
So
I want to say something about the code of conduct before Jack takes it away. I was like, okay, this is a joke. It'll never work. First of all, the uniform thing, I'm all for. I was
Me
always
too.
for. Sick.
I think we got to start enforcing
By the way,
pants
yes.
on the uniforms.
Pants,
by
hats,
the way,
the whole thing.
every
Socks.
team
It's
should wear
sick.
the same color.
Sick. So I was always on board for that. I said code of conduct. There's no way it's gonna work when the pressure's on Yak and Jimmy and Ti. It's all gonna come to a head.
Right.
And then it just played out perfectly, and it was I played you guys week 1. It was probably the most enjoyable games I've had in my career. It was just fun, and it's the right way to do things.
Then you played Big Red. They appealed. Sammy
Yeah.
Sack appealed, and you said.
I said I wish I was playing the Tar Heels.
Right. So first of all, did the code of conduct really work as it appears to have worked to the outsiders? In the clubhouse, was there pushback?
No, I think the mindset for me was, at least it didn't go into who I drafted. Clearly, I wasn't thinking about picking guys who were going to be saints on the field. It was picking guys, and then expressing to them, guys, this is really what I think is best for you and best for the league. I just think when you bring in all the nonsense and you add pressure, and you're talking about even interviews off the field. When going years back on Threat Level Midnight, when a
TI.
teammate comes on and says, my center fielder is the MVP, he's the greatest player, and then he goes 0 for 1 in the first inning, why does he need that pressure?
Right.
And again, it's innocent comment, he's trying to build up his teammate, but anything that you do can be taken, there's a positive and a negative to it, so just do nothing, and let the play do the talking.
I'm with you.
I think that, the behavior, when you're getting so upset about the other team, and then you're upset, and then you make out, and then they're saying, it's just, you're putting pressure on yourself. Guys, this game is hard enough. it's hard enough without the added pressure because there's a built-in pressure to a sporting event. And besides that, I just believe that, you know, we're all Jews and we're all very good friends. There's no one in the league that doesn't like. If anything, there's a 40-year age gap, and
Right.
yet we're all very friendly.
Yeah.
We're all, you know,
Sure.
like Mo Haber and Sammy Soroya could, you know, there's 50 years
They
between
could
them.
hang out and
They could hang out and they could be, and have something to
And
talk
they could
about.
talk for an hour.
Right.
They could talk for
So,
an
so
hour.
on the
is
field,
a
when you're
special
actually
bond.
playing, you're gonna be upset with the guy.
Right.
You know, I don't think that. I think that it's more that we act on the field is fake because off the field, when we see the guy, we love the guy. So why should we be fake on the field? You know, why are we pretending to be upset? Because we think that this is how it was played for 40 years.
Right.
So that was really the pushback. I thought, you know, it was tremendous how. First, it starts with the team. Within the team, it was perfect harmony. No fighting within the team. You have to get along as a team, and I thought that the main point was getting guys to just trust me. Guys, Jimmy could send me 45 voice notes on scouting reports on each team. I didn't open one the whole season because I'm not listening. It's all on me. I'm taking the blame and the credit, and all you guys have to do is do your role and get along with each other. The guy in front of you gets out, pick him up. The guy makes an error, make the next great play. So that was mission 1. They accomplished it. Mission 2 was, like I said, we're not going to fight with the other teams. And I thought I kind of identified the few things, whether it's appealing calls or whether it's, you know, there's the 3, 4
ignite.
things that could ignite it, whether it's, you know, cheering against the pitcher or trying to get them rattled. Again, I don't want to take away, you know, cheering for your guy.
Right.
But there's no reason why it should be targeted at the pitcher or targeted at their first baseman or someone makes an error and you make a comment. We're above that. So I thought that was really, really great, and we didn't have an issue with any team the whole year. And then the umpires, they're the you know, the 2 guys on the field that aren't Jewish, that, you know, there's a lot of things going on in the world. And they don't need that. And they're coming not because the pay is great. As much as they're getting paid, you know, the $50 is
They
not
enjoy
going a
it.
long
They
way.
enjoy
You
it
can't
like
buy
us.
eggs. So they're coming here to enjoy it, and we've lost so many umpires over the years.
And they love it now. They
Yeah,
love it.
because
They
why do you
all
wanna
told me
deal with
this
it?
year that they're calling me to do
But
the World
I
Series.
think that
They
the
love
biggest
it.
thing was
Yeah.
throughout the year, every week we played a team, I got a text the next day from players, from captains on the other team. After we lost, I got so many text messages from all around the league. And you know what? Not to say that this is what it is, but I think that, you know, my rabbi was telling me this, whether it's to build me up with chizuk, he said, you almost had to lose. Because to prove the concept, you had to lose in
I
a
felt the
collapsed
same
way.
way.
Because you know what? When you win it all, yeah, everyone's gonna say, "Oh yeah, they were great. They cruised through mercies through the playoffs and they played great and they got along." When you lose this way and you don't lose your cool, when you strike out, when you
Right.
strike out looking,
Yeah.
all the things were against. It
Goes
showed
deeper.
that it was real. And
I
was
gotta
proud of the
say,
boys.
when I saw that collapse and I looked at you, and like it was, I hate to look at the star player after a collapse like that, but I do it every year. It
Yeah.
happens every year. It's so hard for me. It's like looking at someone while they're down, you know, like I glance or whatever. I always wait a little bit or whatever. But I definitely said, like, this has definitely happened on purpose. Like, you know, this is to
Right.
see, are they going to totally erupt right now or not? Okay.
And you also can't say because they didn't act like crazy people that they lost. Like, it had
Right,
no
right.
bearings on the game. They played the game, they happened to lose, and they could have easily won, whatever.
Although T.I. did try saying that maybe a little bit of his competitiveness was taken away because he couldn't be angry. He
Yeah.
couldn't, whatever, which
Got to find a different way to channel it.
you got to channel it. And yeah, okay, fine. All right, moving on. World Series. World Series. Let's start with game 1. Let's go through the game like we
Yeah.
always do. Big Red.
Well,
ended
we have
up-
the human computer here to
Right.
go through the game for us.
Right.
So,
I just remember Big Red leaving a lot of men on early.
Early. I mean, the first and third, first 2 innings.
Oh, the Charles play. Okay.
Well, before the Charles play, they had an Elko strikeout on a very nasty pitch.
Huge at that.
But you know, I think that the main goal, if you're a team, I just played 12 Commandments that you want to play, that the Big Red has to have is you want to put this team that was 12-2 in an unfamiliar
Uncomfortable.
situation, something that they haven't experienced,
Yeah.
and see how they react. That was our whole goal. Let's go out there and do something different to see how they react in these situations. Is Saban finally going to explode? Is
Right.
Ali going to get negative? You know, and I thought we did certain things, and they reacted. They responded in time. They took the challenge and they rose to the occasion. I thought that was so big for Big Red. get ahead of them early. See how they're going to react when they're down to a team that, was the 8-0 team. They weren't. They were in first place for most of the season.
Right.
And so there's a more doubt when you're playing Big Red. Are we really the better team than when you're playing the Tar Heels, who are 7-7? So I think if Big Red could have put the pressure on them, 12 Commandments had a very tough series against us. Maybe that things would have played out differently, but they weren't able to capitalize, with the right guys up. I think they had, a strikeout, a pop-up, a ground out. They get out of the first inning.
So I don't know how you feel about this. A lot of times captains will ask me where they should play a guy or what I think about a lineup. I'm one human like everyone else. It's just an opinion. So Elsack asked me the day before, and I told him, you got to put Hollywood after you. You got to go Bub, Sammy, Elsack, Hollywood, Charles, then Alco.
Yeah.
Guy is struggling mightily right now. He was great in the beginning of the year. Not great right
He
now.
didn't do it in the first game. The first game he
not.
batted, right.
He
The
did
second
not.
game he made the adjustment.
Second game he made a mini adjustment, a little bit more even.
Right.
But
They switched everything in the game 3 against us.
correct. But
It's almost hard. That's where the confidence and the tenure of a captain make a difference. I know Elsack's been a captain a bunch of times, separated in between.
Yeah.
But to have the confidence to make changes when you're winning, even though things aren't looking the way you want to look at it. Saying everyone sees the box score, W. Don't change anything.
Right.
But if you're in the game and you're starting to feel something, there's a difference between how we're looking, the eyeball test, and saying, this guy's up in big spots and he's not coming through. Okay, but we're winning the games. Having the courage to say, I don't care if we're in the World Series. Now's the time that we have to get to the next level and making that change. Very difficult situation because, like Z said, you have to sell that to your clubhouse.
yeah, you don't want to turn Alco off. Yeah, exactly.
Because you could turn guys off. I know I moved the lineup a lot this year, and I had to have a lot of conversations, and it was hard. Some guys didn't want to be moved. Some guys did want to be moved. But, when you're doing it, L'Shem Shamayim, when you're doing it for the best of the team, there's no, Elsack's not doing it for his kavod to bat third. He was batting fourth. When you're doing it because, guys, I have a responsibility for 12 guys.
Yeah.
We've put on all this work. We want to win. Take your ego aside, and if you're moving from the 3 to the 6, you're going to get your 3 at-bats in the 6 hole.
And it goes back to the guys you draft also
Yeah.
because something like that you can't even say. Like Elsack can't even say this is for the better. Like you just have to sort of make the change and hope that everyone's still
And
bought
I think you could also risk losing the lineup the other way. Like, it was such a credit to them that a guy like Charles Saka is such a great guy. I don't know anyone else who would just bat 7th and win MVP.
Right.
Like at
Crazy.
certain points, I don't know for a fact, but I would bet there was no conversation where Charles is telling him move me up.
Right.
Because he's just the guy who's just saying this is the team and great, I'm comfortable where I am.
I would argue it's the opposite. He said leave me.
Right,
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
But
I'm good.
it's so rare because that could be a distraction that Elsack didn't need. If his 7 hitters constantly telling him week after week, move me up, move me up, move me up, and now he's got to tell him no. They didn't have that, so
Meanwhile,
I think
all Alco had to do was touch the ball. Like, unless he hit it
struggling,
the third,
a strikeout. No one's expecting
Strikeout.
that, but it was a
Strikeout.
very, very nasty pitch.
It was.
One of the best pitches Navy's thrown in a big moment.
It was. I love that pitch that he does. It's that pitch that doesn't turn. It's so hard to hit. It rises a little bit, but not as much.
Right.
Very, very tough. Okay, so then the strikeout, then the next play, inning over. Next inning, they have first and third again. This is when Charles is on third base. Ground ball comes to Naby. The way I saw it, whether he was safe or out, is I see a frozen Charles.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Yeah.
Naby has the ball. That's the weapon. That's the gun with the bullet in it. Naby has the ball, and Charles, deer in the headlights, is not even moving back to third. He's just standing there.
And then he loafed it back to third. Even when he took the 2 steps to get back, he didn't slide. He didn't bust it.
Oh, the non-sliding. Let's not
so
start
there's
with
3
that.
things. I think the first thing is, when you're on third, I almost don't like to be as aggressive with the lead. Because line drive to third, I'm doubled up. You're close enough to score on a lot of plays. And there's, not 2 outs in the inning. So where are you going? If it gets past the pitcher, you can walk home on any throw, on anything like that. So you got to make sure the ball gets past the pitcher. I think he took too big of a lead on the pitch. Then once it's hit to the pitcher, I don't think Charles ever really thought Naby's going to throw the ball to third.
He did.
I think he says he's going to check me and then throw to first. And I don't think Charles is going to score anyway from that position where he is. He's 3 feet off the bag. But when you're off the bag, you almost got to the right play is you got to get back. You got to go and touch the bag.
Yeah.
He looks at you. He checks you for a reason.
Yeah.
You got to go back. By not going
You have
back,
to assume
he
he's
opened,
firing.
Right, he
Yeah.
opened the door, and then how he went back by not sliding and
Crazy.
by not just taking one quick step back to the bag, maybe doesn't throw it. But when he's stuck in deer and headlights, all of a sudden,
The
maybe
opportunity
he takes
is
a
there.
gamble and says, hey, you know what, I'm going to give out the out at first and go for it. And it ends up being an inning-changing event, another momentum for 12 Commandments, and a game that with outs could have been 2-0, 3-0 is still 0-0. You don't
Yeah.
even need to get a hit anymore.
Right.
You've done your hits.
Wild. So
Funny, Naby could fire that throw overthrow. You look at Max or AB Saka, they like to do the underhand. You could take a little more gamble if you're Charles there on
Right,
the
you're
underhand, but
You're right.
maybe
Max-
he has a gun. He does.
Even when Max throws overhand, it's much
not-
softer.
Yeah.
He's got something where like he's afraid to throw it. I don't know.
It goes back to his shoulder surgery, but that's a whole nother.
Okay, fine, but
anyways.
Navy fired that ball.
Yes.
He fired it across, and I think he was safe. My father thinks he was out, whatever, but you got to slide.
Doesn't- yeah, you gotta
don't
slide. It doesn't-
When
it-
you don't slide, it's much harder. I was thinking about it with some boys this week. The umpire is looking at the tag and then has to see the foot.
Right.
But the tag's happening up here and the foot's over there. It's tougher to capture what's going on. When a guy slides and the hand and the tag are in the same spot, it's easier for the umpire to see what got in first.
Yeah.
So once you're gonna go in standing and you're trying to see, my toenail was on the base, but the tag hits me in the shoulder.
Right.
Now you're leaving it up to the umpires. Again, bang, bang play. Whether he gets in or not, we all have the luxury of looking at 20 camera views and replays.
And still
you
can't
And your
conclusively
father,
say
who's
it.
right there,
Right.
saw it and said from his eye he thought he was out. So
Right.
again, it's very easy to be slowed down and say get the call right. I thought there was calls that that could have went either way throughout the series on these bang bang calls.
Yeah.
It just happens to be that. That's when you're on third and each run is so valuable. Mentally he did the wrong things. Whether he gets bailed out because he gets his foot in and the umpire calls, now you're leaving it up to chance. You could have done the right things and had no controversy.
Not only the eyes, also your brain assumes the guy's gonna slide, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, he's up there. No, he's out. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
It's different than what you expect.
You gotta
a
slide. That's
person to
that's
do.
just it.
Gotta slide. There were
I-
3 instances
Yeah,
there's
where
no
Big
sli- no
Red
sliding.
did not slide.
Yeah,
You have Charles in that early situation. Sammy Soroya
into second.
into second could have been safe if he slid.
Yeah.
And then you have the really egregious one, which is Hollywood into Alley.
Sammy was safe anyway on that one,
Oh, okay,
but
yes.
could have been called out
Right.
because he didn't
I thought he
slide.
should have, honestly, watching the highlights, but okay.
Yeah, just slide.
Yeah,
I would have loved to see a replay of that. You showed 1,000 replays on that one. You didn't show the
Of the Sammy one?
Sammy one. I don't think there was a replay. It was just safe.
No, I definitely showed him.
Yeah,
I for
yeah.
sure did.
Probably, yes.
Did you notice I had 3 or 4 different angles?
There was
of the-
it
some
was great.
camera over here that was like in the grass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Charles went for that
Charles
ball.
catch.
What an angle.
What
no,
an
he
angle.
dropped it.
Yeah.
But then
Off
you
the
see
glove.
him like peek up his head and he's looking at this camera that like you don't even know where it's coming from. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in
yeah.
the tree or something.
And you see him do the disappointment on his face.
Yeah, yeah.
You see him do a push-up to get up.
Would've been a
and-
great play.
And you see Bub also,
Yeah.
the disappointment, like so close.
Great angle.
That's what ended up costing them the game. That's
Yeah,
how they ended up
meanwhile,
scoring. Okay, Big Red finally scores. How did they finally score? They scored in the third, Big Red. They had first and third again for the.
Sammy Soroya is a big hit.
Yeah.
What-
I think so.
Okay. Anyway, they finally score a run. They go up 1-0, but like we said, it's only one. It's only one.
Which is, as we know, nothing against that 12 Commandments lineup.
Yeah, very hard to beat a team 1-0. I think the swimming year, the other game 3, did that end up being 1-0?
Yes, it was the Aharon Cohen famous triple off Naby,
Right.
I believe,
The
right?
inning before Ruby Shalou got tagged off of third.
Yes, 3-0
How
count.
crazy. We're
3-0
just talking
count.
Count.
3-0
Yeah.
count, swinging 3-0.
Nanu tagged him, threw it across.
Unbelievable. So that was a 1-0
Think, right?
game.
Yeah.
But you're very rarely going to get a 1-0 postseason game. And that's what Big Red tried doing. They tried winning this game 1-0 and just okay. The two runs that 12 Commandments scored are not what you expect with the Saban double down the line, the Ruby Shalou bomb down to left field like on Mo Money or anything. It was couple of men get on
Ali
here or
with
there.
a giant tag up from first to second.
Yeah.
Strong throw by Elsack to the wrong side of the bag, and that little bit of error allows Ali to slide in. I know we
Right.
showed a bunch of replays. I thought he was safe,
Yeah.
and I don't think it was.
I think he was safe.
I think he was safe.
The
So
first
it was a
base
big-
angle showed that he was safe.
Right.
He
Right.
slid there,
Right.
the tag came
Right.
there.
The throw was just a little bit towards the outfield side, towards the right field side, and he couldn't get the tag down. And then David Harari, a tough. We're all standing in right field thinking about what Bub could be doing. David Harari has power to right. You
Yeah.
can't play
Oh, yeah.
him. You got to respect that power. And when he hits a ball on a line towards the line, that's where I get like all the talk show hosts want to say in the crowd, you're playing him too deep. Yeah, what makes you think you're playing him too deep? If he hits a ball over your head, which he can do,
Then the
now you
game's
play-
over
You
instantly.
got to play the right way. Oh, maybe he should have dove and play into a 3-run triple.
I live on the spot. I said if he dove, that ball gets by him.
Yeah, so
it's too risky.
you can't do that. The ball took a crazy hop also, and Bub got it by his shoulder and kind of stopped it, which was a great stop. But you know what? They get out of it, and it's 1-1.
And in the end of the
game's
day,
moving
I've
on.
played with Max before, and I know his philosophy is one run never hurts us. Keep
Right.
it at one.
Yeah,
You don't
keep
let
it
the
at
single become a double or the double become a triple. Every base counts,
Right.
and that's the Maxi Deed motto. And I'm sure he said okay with that.
Right.
Like he didn't say, "Oh, Bub,
Right.
should have caught it." He's fine with that. I know. So
And-
at the end of the day, it's one run. That's
Yeah,
it.
and then after that, Ali stretching out his hamstring, and
Using DR as
Using
a
DR.
cement wall.
yeah, and I think that
A load-bearing wall.
I think that they kind of went to sleep Big Red. They didn't threaten, and Navy got into a groove.
Maybe got nasty.
And that's what made all the opportunities early look worse than they were, because there was no opportunities to talk about in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
right.
Now
You
you're
know?
being audited again.
Now you're being
you know?
audited.
Now
You
you're
go
being
back
audited,
and
but
it's
it almost like going into the series is not over. It's not even close to over. Maximize the opportunities. When you have first and third, give yourself up to get the run in and let the other guy get the 2 out. We talked about that every series. Is the guy up with man on third and 1 out has a job to do. And in playoff time, it's not hit the
magnified.
triple. It's get the run in, because
At the minimum.
the 2 outs hits that's how you get big innings.
Yeah.
But I got to do my job. My job is to hit a ground ball to second base. There's no holding. He's going on contact. He's in there. I busted to first. There's no double play. And now, you pass the line, because when you don't have those opportunities, you're not going to just get a million opportunities.
Right.
You're playing Navy.
Exactly.
How many opportunities do you think you're going to get?
You're playing Navy with a very, very good defense also.
Yeah. How many
Okay.
opportunities are you going to get?
Now the big play of the game.
2 outs, nobody on.
Yeah.
2 outs, nobody on. I mean, we're talking about it. It's a tough play. I think if you're honest with Charles, he did the hard part. He got to it. The ground to cover and the depth that he was playing on made it the hard play. He got to the ball. It was like a half dive. It wasn't a layout full extension.
hard to sell
It was-
out going
right.
that way.
It was
It's
a
hard
half dive. I
play.
thought the ball was under him and in full into the glove and just fell out. And you're saying all of a sudden it's a tough spot to make the error, because the 3 guys in the lineup you don't want to face are Shimmy at this point, David Harari, and Ali, and
Yeah.
it's Abon. Those
Yeah.
are the 4 guys.
Everyone
Shimmy,
else is ice
everyone
cold.
else is ice
Ice
cold.
cold.
So
Shimmy's the most dangerous bat in their
Yeah.
lineup right now. The guy's hitting everything.
So you make an error to Barsano and Nutty, and all of a sudden now you're in decision mode. Do I walk Ali? Do I
Right.
face Sabon? The disrespect. They're both Hall of Famers. Ali, I think psychologically Max goes back to when they go into the outfield to make the meeting. How did they get swept in the regular season? Ali got the big hit. They didn't walk him to face Sabon.
Oh,
they
wow.
pitched to Ali.
I forgot about that.
They pitched to
Yeah.
Ali, and he got the big hit against us. And now it's like the same opportunity. Are we just going to be, insane and repeat the same mistakes we
Right.
made, or is it going to be okay? We know, and he got the big hit against us, and he got the big hit. He's had so many moments where this year, whether it's people doubting him pre-draft or doubting him all season. It got to the point where finally in the World Series it took for someone to say Ali's
Right.
deserving of the respect. We're gonna walk him. I think baseball-wise, to set up the force, it's not the wrong play. You
Right.
can't go wrong with it, and that's how you justify it. Sabon's also had so many opportunities, but to walk a guy to set up the force at third, to set up the force at second. Saban's a little bit of a slower runner. A bobble from short, you can still throw him out. It's the right move.
You like the move also.
Yeah, you know what? In the end, like, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but Ali is the guy right now on this team. You look at who's performing, who's not. Ali is going to have to go to the Jack Abady level of, in that moment, take it into your hands. The David Farka, the Zach Ashkenazi, whatever guy you want to compare it to in the past series. Ali's had the amazing year, the MVP year. He's going to have to carry that through all the way through the World Series for them to get it done. So, on the flip side, you don't want to let Ali be the guy to burn you. And he's burned them before, and like Jack said, it's insane to repeat the same thing. Okay, you got to live with the result, unfortunately.
So Sammy said vocally, he goes, we discussed this situation Friday night, game on the line,
Sammy
Ali
Saka.
up. Yeah, Sammy Saka. He said, game on the line, base open for Ali or Saban. We are walking Ali and going to Saban.
Right. Which I think is good. Like, you know, at the end of the day, the process is they spoke about it.
Exactly.
You know,
what you were saying
you
before.
can't blame it if you went through it and you spoke about every situation and it comes up. You know, you trust the metrics. You know,
but still, it was a lengthy meeting in short
because when it comes up, I mean, and that's also the whole team huddled.
Whole team.
What do I need to hear Ruby Shahebar's opinion on this? You know, like
he had to drop a gem.
I guess.
Hello, everyone. Ruby Shahebar, founder of Gems by Ruby and an official sponsor of the 2024 YMSL season. A short message for you guys. On the expanse of the diamond, we realize that no one player can determine success. The field is the venue where character is tried and tested. When 12 men unite toward a common goal with a shared purpose, the magic of unity unfolds. Challenges become triumphs, aspirations become victories. There is a compounding strength found in togetherness. One team will rise and many will fall. Which side of history will you be on? Look forward to opening day, March 31st. Hope to see you all there. May the best men win.
You know, at that point, I think it's crazy because the captain's in the outfield,
Right.
And the pitcher, you know, I think it's just an LSAC max discussion. But if you talked about it beforehand, maybe you're just double confirming. But it seemed like, you know, they knew what they wanted to do and they stuck with it. They walked them, and now
we
Saban's
mentioned it a lot.
Yeah.
The captain in the outfield. Bub told me after he captained, he goes, "I'll never do it. I'm in right field. It's impossible."
I think
I-
a bunch
hard.
from center and a bunch from the infield
Yeah.
now, and I find it it's much easier, you know, to be in the
I
infield.
couldn't even I like to even just not as a captain, as a leader. I like to really, you know, lead and take things into my own hands on the field. In left field, I was helpless out there.
Yeah.
It's just like you can't even have that impact on the game, so it's tough.
It's
Definitely
funny.
not
Everything you say is true. You want the force. Everything makes perfect sense. Ali's been the guy.
It's
I didn't
so
like it
strange
just
'cause
based on the
Saban's
field.
the guy. I'm
I
saying
just feel like Saban always
Yeah.
comes through in these
I
situations.
mean,
Maybe I'm wrong.
As much
Maybe
as
he doesn't.
Ali
Not
came
he,
through
you know?
with the tying hit against us, Saban got the game-winning hit against us.
Yeah.
So you
But
know,
you know what? Nothing was proven because it was a bloop. You didn't even hit the ball good.
It's like
that's what makes it worse. That's what
Right.
makes you think like maybe I'll do it again.
Right.
Because he didn't crush a double down the line.
No,
You know,
no.
he got it all on his hands. Max made a great pitch, and
It's just Ali and Saban. Like,
Yeah.
how many opportunities over the years have they had to get that big hit? I'm sure a bunch
can
of
tell
times
you-
they failed, and a
I
bunch of times that you remember they came through. So it's
How
just
are they
like
still
there's
doing this?
there's
It's
also
insane.
also a credit, an unsung credit has to go to Nutty, because I'm sure he wasn't thinking with his at bat he's gonna hit a flare to right field.
Right.
And
Hustle
you know
out
what?
of the
he
box.
hustled out of the box to get
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah.
Because so
And it was
many guys,
relatively close,
right? So many
the play.
guys hit a pop up to second base,
And then look-
and yeah, your first three steps are watching
Slamming
the
the
ball,
bat and-
slamming the ball, and then the ball falls. Bub's right there, picks it up and throws it in, but he's easily at second base because
Yeah.
getting to second forces this whole situation, and you're getting into scoring position because, you know, with the man on first, they pitched to both of them, and you got to get 2 hits, and you know, Max was dealing, so to get 2 hits off of Max on a day was a tough situation. So you know, Nutty really, you know, his first 3 steps, putting his head down and running out of the
Yeah,
box
it's
is
key to push that
is
across.
against the nature of every hitter,
Key.
especially every star hitter.
7th inning, Charles Saka, first pitch, clean base hit. I mean, that's got to wake up your clubhouse
you're
right
thinking
there.
you're gonna
One
get
pitch.
you're thinking you're gonna get a guy to second, and you know, we're only down 1, and Charles has been doing it all year.
And you automatically almost, unless it goes 1, 2, 3, you're going to turn the line.
Right.
Charles bats 7th, I think. Maybe he batted 6th. I don't know.
No,
But
6th
you're
in the
getting
second
there.
game.
You're getting
Yeah.
near there. You know, you're getting towards
Yeah, you're up
Sammy
to 8, 9,
Soroya,
10 right now.
where you want to reach him. You
Right.
know, and but then Yogi, early in the count, hit it hard,
Very hard.
but directly.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it's you know, as a guy who loves to go up the middle, you know, this year for the first time, people weren't playing me 4 outfielders. You can't just do that because that's the double play ball.
Yeah.
Very hard to turn a double play with a flip and a turn.
I hear
Even
you.
for Yogi.
One thing
the
I'll
one
say,
thing is
though.
you can't
Yeah.
hit it one step off the bag. Alan Jamal hit a huge double play for us. He's the fastest guy in the league. You hit it to the bag and it's not a tough play for anybody.
But one thing I will say is it's Yogi, which Yogi's having an incredible
Yeah.
year, off of Nabi. There's probably a select.
Just
You
trying
can
to hit it
count them
hard.
on
He
your
just- and
finger,
he hit
guys.
it very hard.
You can count them on your hand. The amount of guys that could put the ball wherever they want
Yeah.
against Nabi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for Yogi, he hit the ball hard, and
Just tough
on the
spot,
ground,
tough
it's-
spot.
it
It's
went
just
to
a
the
tough
wrong
spot.
spot.
And on a
You
day where the
can't say
ground was not
Yogi,
easy. On the day when the ground was not easy,
No,
you
it
know, he
wasn't
could have got
easy.
a hop, and it was a great play, I thought, by Svi.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't in front of it. He was
No, he
playing
had to
clearly
move.
on the pull side. You look at, you know, pre-video, the angle was great. I thought for a second he was playing up the middle. He wasn't playing up the middle.
Yeah.
He took 2 steps, and the ball was, you know,
And
it was
then he came back
you
to
know,
the
a
bag.
shot to you know,
Nice
any
play.
kind of hop, and it's
Yeah.
off his glove, and it's first and third. And he makes a great play and a solid throw, and it was just meant to be.
What a pick by Saban, because that kid is getting hits also out of the 10 hole. I agree with Zach, though. Yeah, you can hit the ball up the middle there. Yogi, you just want him to hit the ball
Can't
as hard
ask
as
for
he
too
can.
much, and
Yeah,
he did his
okay.
job. It
I
just
hear you,
sucks
I
the
hear you.
result, but
Bad luck for him, I feel like, because
and he's hitting the ball great.
He is.
He is.
Okay, let's go to game 2, because so many people thought after game 1, oh, they lost their opportunity. This series is going 3, which I didn't feel that way at all. I felt Big Red played, you know, even better possibly. Had more chances.
Missed opportunities.
The flow of the game and the style of the game. I'm not using the right words here, but it's exactly the recipe for Big Red to
Yeah.
win the game.
This
so
is how they
even-
wanted to play.
Yeah, even
You
though
know?
they didn't come through with the actual W, which is all that matters.
But
It's the way they wanted to play out.
It's
the way
also
they
a credit
could
to
win.
Big 12.
No,
to
it's the
12
way they
Commanders,
have to
though,
win. It's the
because
way
they
they have
can win
to win.
every way.
Right.
Saying
Right.
they're a team that can win a 2-1 game and they'll win a 13-8 game.
Throughout
you
the
know,
year,
so
it's been so
they
easy
can
to
play
forget.
every type of style. They
Throughout
have
the-
Navy.
Yeah,
And they have the defense.
So that's what I was saying. Throughout the year, it's been so easy to forget that they have Navy,
Yeah.
and they could win 2-0, 1-0,
Yeah.
3-1, 4-2, whatever it is. They have Navy, who has, you know, you don't need to say anything about it, but their lineup 1 through 10 has stolen the show throughout the year. I think it's actually in a bad place right now. I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead with
It
analyzing the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it looks like Navy is going to have to carry them these next 2 or 3 games, whatever it is. Navy is really going to have to go to another level. And he's pitching
crazy.
great already.
I kind
I
of felt
know.
it. I kind of felt it in our series where, you know, you're looking at all the stats and all the things. It's like you got to flush out the regular season. This is a different game.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
this is where there's pressure involved. There's different at bats, and 8, 9, 10 of their guys could hit over 400 in the regular season. That means nothing. You know, the big boys that have to come to play, and they
Exactly,
are.
that's
But
what
where
I
else
mean.
are they going to get help? But they have Navy. They're not they're not the Warriors who have a crazy offensive team, and now the offense doesn't score, and we're going to get mercy out of the playoffs. They
Yeah.
still have the best pitcher on
And
the
you go-
mound
you go
to
through
bail
the-
them out in the game, and they don't hit.
You go through their lineup, you have Nutty, Barsano, Pindek. These guys are ice cold.
Yeah.
And you have Loudon, and all these guys
Ruby,
are ice cold.
Shalou.
That's why
Shalou hasn't done anything,
Shalou,
yeah.
exactly. Going back to what I said before, and Navy was 0 for 6. Going back to what I said before, it needs to be Ali that needs to continue on with this legendary season and this MVP campaign that he's
Well, they
having.
did nothing against Max because they
Okay.
scored 2 runs and they scored 3 runs. So you know what? The
and you
pressure's
know what?
on them to say, hey,
if they continue to do nothing, they're going to lose the series.
right.
Let me tell you something.
They're gonna lose the series.
3 runs they scored were an error by Sammy Soroya into the the parking lot.
Right.
An error by Henry
Henry.
on a easy ground ball.
Yep.
Not a bad hop.
Yep.
And then up 7-2 in the 7th
Right.
with 2 outs. You're going to let the guy score.
And when they had second and third to try to get back into the game, they did nothing. They didn't
Right.
score a run.
They barely,
You
and
know?
then the 2 runs in game 1 were what we said on the bloop
So-
and the bloop.
So I think now, as we lead into game 2, it's playing exactly into the way BRM wants
But they get
it
up
to
2
play
nothing.
out.
They get up
But
2 nothing,
okay.
and Sammy Soroya throws the ball in the park.
Right.
He hasn't done it, and Henry misses a ball that's an easy out, and now you're up 2 nothing. A lot of credit that BRM comes right back.
Right
Yeah.
back
Come
with
back
the
and
1
won.
run, humongous.
Right back with 1 and then 3.
Yeah.
And the 3 was on their mistakes. Now all of a sudden 12 Commandments making mistakes.
Yep.
Close play at second. Ali makes a great play, fires it to the bag, and he beats it.
Yeah.
Then, they're not playing perfect anymore. 12 Commandments. And in game 2, they finally started to get some big hits. Hollywood had some big hits. Bubs at the table. Soroya had some big hits.
Gotta say, with what you just mentioned, all the guys that aren't peaking right now, Barsano, Nutty, Shalou,
Far from peaking.
they're not even playing to where they should,
Right.
like their average. They're underperforming. All these guys, Pindeck, whatever. On the flip side, look at BRM.
Yes.
Bub is hitting great.
They don't have the guy that needs to do something.
Soroya is on fire.
Soroya
Yeah.
is on
He
fire.
has 9 hits in the playoffs. I think Elsak's on fire
is
also.
on
Yes,
fire.
yes, yes.
Hollywood hitting every ball on the
Hard.
screws.
He had a
Every
couple
out
of
is hard.
balls hit hard in the first game that he made outs,
Yeah.
but they were hit hard.
Line drives.
Yeah, exactly. To end the inning.
Yeah.
Yogi driving the
Well,
ball.
I would say with the exception of Alco,
Yes.
the other 9 hitters are here. Maybe Jackie Eshka had a rough day also, but he was great in the series against us. But
And
the other 8 guys are, without a question, performing. Where on the flip side, it's the exact opposite.
Opposite.
And that's why I think, like, if 12 Commandments are going to win, someone else is going to have to win World Series MVP. I don't think Nate B could do it alone. I even in all his greatness, I don't think he's going to be able to pitch 2 shutouts or 2 low-run games. Someone else
Against
is
a
going to have to
team,
rise to the occasion.
Against a team that's hitting him
Yes,
right now.
yes.
being an expert of the World Series panel, I can say that we're reacting to what we saw.
Yeah.
And based on what we saw, I agree. But come Friday, everything is different.
Yes.
How they come to the field, how they wake up, who stays out on a Thursday night because it's July 4th and wife drags them to some friend's
Stupidity.
barbecue.
Right.
You know,
For fireworks
Exactly.
and,
Who's hydrating today? Everything's different. The intensity. You know what? You got to come out without the fans will be there by 10:30.
Yeah.
But by 9 o'clock, you
No
have to
one's
be-
there at 9.
Right, you have to give your own energy. You have to feed it, and whoever comes out, all of a sudden, 12 Commandments lineup could show up.
Yeah.
And BRM saying we didn't take advantage when they weren't,
Yeah.
awake. So
Right, we
you
should
know
be
what?
up
We're
2-0.
talking about the 4 or 5 guys who didn't hit. All it takes is one
One
hit, and all of a
one
sudden
from
they're
any
feeling
of
good.
them.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
yeah.
One
Yeah.
from any of them.
Barsano Gapper, and he's standing
Right,
on
so-
second
so-
in front of Ali.
So
Right.
I think based on what we've seen, again, I think 12 Commandments are luckier side to be 1-1.
Yeah.
That being said, I think they feel better about being 1-1, knowing they didn't play their best and knowing that they're a team that's lost 3 games all season and are great.
when was the
doubt
last
in
time?
there, yeah.
When was the last time that 12 Commandments played their best?
Right.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, they didn't play their best against us for sure.
And the week before
And
they played Nanu
yeah,
Nation,
so they
and,
played great.
and,
They
and,
didn't-
and it was 2 weeks of rainouts.
and against
it-
Stratton before that was their second loss of the season. So
Yeah.
it's been
a real since
a
they
while.
played BRM last has
right,
maybe
probably,
been their last
probably
like,
they
when
played
they're
BRM
playing well.
in the
so.
8-0 versus the
Yeah.
7-1.
I
But
think
in all that, they've still found a way to win. So there's something.
they
There's
always
something.
find a way to win, but there has to be a little bit of doubt that has creeped into that clubhouse. And even though they only lost 2 games all year, there got to be some guys that are thinking we may lose 3 games in this World Series.
It's funny, and I
do
think
you
the
think-
opposite is true with BRM. I think they're so rock solid
Yeah.
in the way that they think that it doesn't matter how they play or what happened. They're going to show up with the same type of mentality, the same attitude, the same approach to the game. They're not flustered by anything. They don't have any doubts. They're playing the game.
I think there's 2 things. I think number 1 is the fact that swimming was 12-2 and sealed the deal, and this team's the 12-2, and they're almost like the 73-10 Bulls won it all. Are
Yeah.
these the 74-9 Warriors,
Warriors.
where You could be the greatest regular season. You're nothing without the chip.
Nobody cares, right?
They blew the 3-1
Everyone,
lead.
like, there's even more pressure. If you're the first team to do it, okay, we were 12-2, we blew it. But now, since everyone's talking, well, 4 years ago there was this other team that did it a different way, but had the same record. I think that's adding to it. And then the fact that, like you said, Ali and Saban know how hard it is to get here, and they don't want to waste it. Is that pressure? I think Sammy Soroya thinks he's going to be in the World Series every year.
Probably thinks
I think
that.
he thinks,
Yeah,
I
But he
come
won't.
to this league, right? But
That was me.
But he won't.
to believe it.
You both
He just-
thought it,
But he
right?
could play
My first 2
naive
years
enough.
I won. I thought, this is
He can
a
just
joke.
play naive enough and say, go in and play loose.
Right.
Where he's like, yeah, I'll be here next year. If I win, I'm in the night league. I'm in the finals. I'm here. I'm in the finals.
I'm
Everywhere I
win
go, I'm
every
in the
time.
finals, and I'm great. And I can just play loose, and I'm up there having fun. Whereas there's a sense of urgency. I'm 50 years old. How many more chances? I have a great team. Don't waste it. And now, for him, it's great. But is he putting too much pressure on Pindek? Is he putting too much pressure on Shimmy?
Yeah, that's
so
what I
great.
said. It's the
For they-
micromanaging.
I think Saban and Ali can handle the moment.
Yeah.
But when the other guy's up and the other guy has to have, a mindset of he's only been in the league 1 year, but he's carrying a 30-year journey that Saban has to win as a captain.
Right.
It's not so easy.
It's a lot of weight on the shoulders.
Right. I just showed up. Pindek just got into the league.
Right.
He's happy he's in the 96, and now he's got to deal with Saban's career never winning as a captain.
Exactly, which he wasn't even
You know,
born
right,
when Saban was
right.
losing a World Series.
Yep.
How good for Elsack to have Soroya, who thinks he's going to win every year, even as we're telling him he's not going to.
Right.
He's, I'm a little different. I'm going to win it every
Right.
year because I'm the best and it's easy.
But he has Henry right next to him in his ear. Charles Saka, who's been around.
I say
and
let him
Elsack,
right,
Elsack
let
lost
him run.
Let him run with it. Let
No,
him
for sure.
and Elko run with this narrative of we're here every year. Just play nice and easy and
The
free.
reason
Listen,
you
Sammy's
won as a
wa-
rookie and the reason you
don't know
tagged
anything.
from second to third over there is because at that age you think you're invincible.
I was
and
15
you're
years
just gonna
old.
do it.
I was not the player that Sammy
Right.
Soroya is now
I
as
hear
a
you.
rookie, but
But I think it's great for Elsack to be able to have that and not worry about this guy. Let him do that.
listen,
Let him play
Elsack this is his 4th consecutive World Series with 0 rings.
crazy. He lost 8 World
So he
Series
may ha-
games in a row. Games
Insane.
in a row.
That's wild. So he may have that equivalent of the Saban and Ali weight on his
Crazy.
shoulders that he may be portraying to everyone else. So
Elsack
That's
lost
wild.
game 1 of this World Series. Got swept by the Rays on Dano's cool
Swept
run.
by,
Swept
Shake
by
and Bake.
Shake and Bake on
And then
Moshiach and
lost
lost
the last
game
game of
5.
Caballos.
Do you believe that?
That's
8
wild.
games in a row he lost till this win.
insane.
I think the camaraderie on Big Red is so good.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
like
good.
I
You
like
see
what you
it.
said. I like large red.
Large
I'm feeling
Yeah.
large
Large
red.
Humongous
I love
red.
large red. I love all that. And I think they're gonna you're gonna hear the Holly and
Hollywood
12
loved
different.
it.
Right, 12
12
commandments is
different,
not much to rally behind. What are you going to say?
How
you
much
know?
could we talk about whose name's on the back of what jersey?
Right, that's all you can
So-
say.
But how funny is Saban that on the spot he could say, I once decreed they should make straw, bricks without
Right.
straw.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
on the
No, it's
spot.
amazing.
He's such a personality. He can't.
All
What
time.
day he's not going to play anymore? We're going to be like,
Stop.
straight
Let's
to the
not.
booth, straight
Let's
to the
not.
booth.
it's crazy.
Let's not discuss it.
It's crazy what he is. But I think the camaraderie on Big Red is
He's
a
not going
lot
anywhere.
better.
The guy hits
Yeah.
550
I
every
Thou
already
year.
said
shalt not speak about
One
Saban
day,
all the
one
time.
day. I'm just
That is
saying,
commandment number 12.
Big Red, the camaraderie, the volume.
It's only as good as it is on Sunday. So
I hear
again,
ya.
yes, I
Right,
do
Jack's
think
right.
that
Who's
I do
going
think that
out
there-
tonight? Who's-
right? But I do think that the built-in vibe can happen from Big Red that has nothing to do with the field. Saying Bub's gonna be screaming his
And
head
Henry.
off,
Bub and Henry. And Holly's
Matt,
there.
yeah, they're all gonna be saying it. It has nothing to do with the hits.
Right.
12 commandments are going to get going if they start. If Nutty gets a hit and Barsano gets a hit to start the game, their team will get going.
Yeah, you're
they're
gonna hear
feeling up with the play.
Loudon and-
You know?
Fine.
So I think that there's that. But you know what? They were able to deal with it when they played them. They actually had the gag order from Troy where no cheering was allowed to
Right,
happen
right.
because it was
Good
a
call.
first inning fight. So they never had to deal with. Holly to happy birthday and Holly
Torah
to
Siva.
to Torah Siva. Maybe this year Haktikva is going to come and play. We don't know what Bub's going to do.
Perhaps a blessing in disguise for Big Red that Troy gagged them and didn't let
Yeah.
them unleash their whole arsenal I'm just crazy. I think before the series, 80% of the people took 12 commandments. After games 1 and 2, everyone thinks Big Red is going to win all
No,
of a
I
sudden.
think
And guess what?
I would
In
say-
an instant, it could flip back the other way,
We're
or
so
this
fickle.
way, that way. It's,
Well, how many? I think Game 3 is a pivotal game. I believe both the Caballos and the Cucumbers were down 2-1. So even when it went 5, they won Game 4. We won Game 4 in the Mercy,
Yeah.
and I think Caballos also won Game 4 going away. And then they lost Game 5. I think these series are hard to win 2 games.
I know.
I think the format's a little different.
I
Because
think it's different this year,
because
yeah. I think it's
2
out the
games,
window.
So and then a standalone, but I believe the winner of Game 3 is going to have an advantage because they get 2 chances to win it. It's hard to close
Yeah.
a team out and win back-to-back
But I think
games.
less so this
this
year
type of
because
format?
Game 3 and 4
Yeah, it's
on the
gonna be
same
fun.
day.
It's gonna be fun.
It's like
And a Friday. Different field than a Sunday.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Mazda's at the field, Shabbat's in the air,
July 4th.
July 4th. It's a little bit of a different feel. It's a different feel.
I think less so this year that being that it's Game 3 and 4 on the same day. We know the toughest thing to do in this league is sweep. So you almost have a penciled in split. However, whoever wins that Game 3, all the pressure is on the other team to win Game 4. So you may see some mistakes there,
Yeah.
but again, the hardest thing to do is sweep in a day. Normally, you have that Game 3 standalone Friday. The perfect schedule is 1 and 2 on a Sunday, Game 3 Friday. That Game 3 is always the game
Huge.
that flips the series. I don't know if that's the case this year. I mean,
wanna-
it's obviously a big
I want to
game.
introduce a new segment. Let's hear from our fans.
Oh.
We got a tweet earlier on the YMSL Twitter account from Chuck from Oakhurst. He wants to know, Norm, a question for Norm. What are we going to do if it goes Game 5 with a starting time? Are we going to have a 11 o'clock
question, Chuck.
start for Game 5 to give the fans a time to get here with the rook in hand,
Fans.
with some breakfast? Because at 9:30, so we know YMSL is all about the fans.
Chuck, I hear
We
your
can't have a
question.
9
I
o'clock
actually
start.
called him Dr. Chuck over here, according to my feed. Chuck, get your rook. Go to the beach. Get lunch.
Oh,
Spend time with the family.
Wow.
wow.
Just get here by 5 p.m.
Wow!
for a Game
Wow,
5.
old school.
5 p.m.
5 p.m. start. That's what we
Crazy.
really want to hear.
It's not Friday Game 5. It's Sunday Game 5.
Unbelievable.
We can
It's
start at
Unbelievable.
5.
It's an insane
And
thought.
we-
That
It's
is,
the same
I
thought.
almost want that now.
I know.
A
I
5
know.
o'clock Game 5
Yes.
with, standing room only. We're going to be selling standing tickets.
Yes, exactly.
Wow,
And Chuck, I want to thank
exciting.
you for asking that question.
Yes.
Very good. We will not be starting that game at 9 or 10 or 11
It's
in the morning.
insane because you could sit there all day. Like we had even the Friday game when the game's at 3 o'clock and you get to the field at 2. What the hell are you doing with yourself
It's
from
crazy.
9 a.m. to 1:30 when you
Yeah.
start getting dressed?
Get a
You have
light
nothing to
walkthrough,
do,
light
and
walkthrough.
that's a 3 o'clock game. Now you have 5 o'clock on a Sunday when you have kids and you got to take them to the beach
Yeah,
and
I
you got to
wonder-
go
I wonder
here.
if LSAC's thinking I could get a quick pickleball in,
Yeah.
on a Sunday morning now that the game's going to be at 9.
I wonder if Nate B is going to
Right,
the Deal
right.
Casino
You know,
as
a
he
lot
always
of-
does.
a lot
There's
of
a lot
this-
of
I have
no,
another
come
question
on.
from our
Yeah,
Twitter
yeah.
feed for both of you guys, asking you if what you think as first round picks and first overall picks, as you've both been multiple times. All right, so you're talking to 3 first overall picks over here. What do you guys think of the almost immediate, almost premature crowning of a young Sammy Soroya? Everyone's saying he's gonna go first round, he's gonna go first pick, he's the best we ever saw. Is it insulting? Is it expected? What do you think of the reaction to him?
Me, I think it's a credit to him. I think probably in my assessment of it, it's more one-sided than other-sided. I think defensively, he's deserving of, he's the best shortstop in the league right now. Zach's playing left field, and he's the best shortstop in the toughest position. I think that offensively, I don't know if he's the number 1 pick. There's a lot of guys, who probably would think that, offensively he'd have to mature a little bit, but his glove is so valuable. His running is so valuable. The type of guy he is, no headaches, is so valuable that it's a credit to him. He's deserving. I think there's a different pressure that comes with it, and how he reacts to it. But I think it's really something that he's almost in his prime already, which is scary, but also true. I think, SY prime is not MLB prime. Once you get married and have a couple of kids and the metabolism slows, by 26, you're not necessarily the player you are at 21.
Right.
He's in his prime, and he's a great player. So, I think that it's a little bit premature. I think the pitchers next year, everyone's also seeing how valuable Naby and Max are.
Yeah,
and
they may go 1 and 2 next year.
I think they'll probably, as much as everyone who's not a captain will say, I'll take Sammy Soroya first. I think if you're on the clock and you're saying, if I don't take Max first and I don't get a chance, now all of a sudden I don't get a pitcher, am I going to be the team with Leo and Hannon and all these guys? No one wants to be those teams. So
good point. He is doing this with Yedid. He's doing it on a Yedid team. He's not going to be with Yedid next year.
Correct. He ain't going 12 overall anytime in the near future.
No, he's going to have to win with other pitchers.
I think you look at the two shortstops. They had 2 incredible years, but they're on the teams with the 2 best pitchers.
Right.
I think you look at Zach's 2 championships and how incredible he was, and he has Naby and Max.
For sure.
I think it's a credit to the pitchers, and I think it was a little bit more glaring the last couple of years, the disparity. We always used to say, give Leo the greatest team in the world, and he'll compete with the Max without the first round bat. But it's not been the case the last few years. The 7th and 8th pitchers have failed off.
The fair question to ask is, and I know for sure the answer on my end, but was Leo given the best teams? With the Jungle last year, definitely not, and that's my fault. Yeah. And Nanu Nation this year, definitely not as well. So is there better team construction around him that could get it done? That's for another time.
You could argue Yedid or Naby as better team.
Yeah. Much.
Leo.
What do you think about Soroya?
Listen, the kid's fantastic. I think he's a different breed of player. You say it's scary, the offensive talent, it's gonna come. It's not like he's not gonna be scared that he's the number 1 pick and all of a sudden hit 350.
And he's not a singles hitter. He's a power hitter.
Yeah, at this stage in the game, I think he would be more deadly if he was a singles hitter because at a certain point, their defense is gonna adjust, and if he's hitting fly balls to gaps and to lines, there's a way to defend that. So the scarier thing is when he learns how to go up the middle, turn every single into a double because of his speed. That's when you really start to hit another stride, and that's when Jack in his prime and Zach in his prime and David Farka and Joe G in their prime, all these guys, that's what they do. That's another level of hitting. And then you sort of lull them to sleep and you get them to bring that 4th outfielder back in, and that's when you split a gap.
You just took the words out of my mouth. What you did on Kakambas, even though you didn't win, and what you did on swimming and shake and make, is you go up the middle. But then, even with 4, once in a while,
in the biggest moment,
bam!
That's it. And
I'm going over your head now.
And so to answer that, I don't think that he is the guy that's going to be. He's not shaky. He's full confidence.
Right.
He's very, very serious. Very softball diehard. So it's not like he's going to shy away from the moment. I think the ceiling has not been reached yet. Guy's amazing. He's a game changer with his glove, no question about it. And like Jack said, that's all the value right now. The year that he puts it all together offensively, which once he puts it together offensively, it will last for a stretch of years. That's when you start to see him possibly as the undisputed number 1 pick or whatever it may be, the MVP caliber. I don't think he's there yet, but it can happen any year. He can show up next year and hit 550, 600.
Credit to him. I think early on in the season, the first 3 weeks, he was on fire, hitting over 600 with power, and then teams started to adjust to him. I think he had a stretch where he was like 9 for 20 or something like that, where he was hitting, maybe less, maybe 6 for 20 or something like that, where he's hitting in the 200s, and his average at the end of the year, dipped down to the mid 400s from a guy who started after 6 games was hitting over 600.
Right.
So he did cool down, but when we saw, why is the talk? The talk is because what he did on Sunday. The talk is what he did in your series. He's taken these playoffs by storm and has 9 hits in 5 games. That's more than 2 hits a game.
Yeah.
That's
and
doing
the
it and we're all prisoners of the moment. When you see something in the playoffs when everyone in the league is able to watch. Right now there's 6 teams focused. When you're playing during the season, only the team that plays him gets to watch him.
Correct.
You get to see the highlights here or there, But
Right, like
now
David
everyone's
DC
watching
Cohen
and
wins
right.
World Series MVP. We pick him in the fourth
Right.
round the next year.
Right.
And, you know,
Right.
okay,
Exactly.
it's different here.
So I think right now he's almost showed a little bit of the rookie wall, but like got rejuvenated by the playoffs, which is, you know, building up this momentum again, which is well deserved, and a credit to him.
Gentlemen, it is time to audit your own odds and make your predictions. We are down to a 3-game series, basically.
Prep by Ray T. Get your brisket, get your burgers, your hot dogs, your kibbas, everything you need by the famous Chef Ray T. Ray T. Prepped by Ray T.
Hello there, everyone. This is six-time YMSL champion Stephen Batesh, letting you in on my secret to success. After a grueling season, a tough doubleheader, and a big comeback win, nothing tastes like victory more than the fine meats of Prepped by the famous chef Ray T. From the juicy steaks to the scrumptious burgers to the delectable mazza, or my personal favorite, the chicken pot pie. You can't go wrong with Prep by Ray T. Trust a six-time champion. Call Ray T today to cater your summer event and eat happy, my friends.
Prep by Ray T. Get your brisket, get your burgers, your hot dogs, your kibbas, everything you need by the famous Chef Ray T. Ray T.
Predictions. We are down to a 3-game series, basically. 2 on Friday, possibly 1 on Sunday. What do you think? Who will be crowned the 2025 champion?
I usually we're talking about games on Sunday and then games on Friday, game 5 on Friday. So I don't like to make my decisions.
Correct.
I say I'll pick Sunday's games.
I'll talk to you
but
again.
now that we're probably not going to have a video Motzei Shabbat, I would say that we have to go with the whole series. And what do we
Yeah.
think?
That's a good point.
I really, you know, against the grain, maybe against popular opinion, I do think we'll see 5 games. But I think 12 Commandments is the better team.
Wow.
And I think that they've done it all year, and I love their leadership. And I didn't love what I saw the last couple of weeks, but I still have faith that that even when they don't play their best, and they haven't played their best, they're 3-4 in the They're 3-4 in the playoffs without playing their best. So I'm scared to see if they put it all together. And they may only have to put it all together for one of the next 3 games. I think they can win 1 game not playing their best, as they've proven, you know, in the playoffs so far.
Right.
And if they ever put it together, is there a team that can match their firepower with their defense and pitching combo? I don't think so. So I think, you know, you got to assume in one of the 3 games they're going to put it together, and it could be an ugly game. And, you know, I'm banking on the 12 Commandments, you know, being able to win a lot of different ways is the deciding factor, and that's who I'm going to go with in 5.
It's crazy because that same logic I'm using, but because the 12 Commandments did not play their best and have not, so it's scary that if they do, you know, they're going to get it done. The thing I worry about, the doubt that I have in my mind is I don't think that they could channel their best anymore. I think it's over. It's gone with that stuff of putting them all together, and that's why I said earlier that, you know, that it's going to take Ali to have that continuous heroic performance, or one of these guys to rise to the occasion. I don't know if they could do it. I think it's behind them, and it's funny, like 12 Commandments have the swimming record, but I think that BRM is more swimming-like in the way that they keep the game close. And defensively, they make very few mistakes. And 12 Commandments, like, I know Ali makes all the plays, but Sammy Soroya makes that above and beyond play. And Henry's solid, and Charles Sack is solid. I have BRM in 5. Obviously, it could go either way. Originally, I took 12 Commandments to win the series. Now I'm flipping to BRM because just the way I'm seeing things play out with 12 Commandments, I think that it's just really tough. I don't think that they have that magic that they had. There's too many zeros in the lineup, and of course can prove me wrong. I'm just person with an opinion. I think I think BRM is more of a team right now. Just
You
one
don't need
through.
to apologize for your picks.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
my
they're
pick.
gonna bring
Yeah.
it up no matter what you say. The
Right,
other teams are
right.
gonna bring it up.
Right.
So
I think just BRM 1 through 10. These guys are chipping in. It's not that Yogi
Right.
is playing like Mickey Mantle, but he's doing what he has
Right.
to do. Hollywood's doing what he has to do. They're all playing their roles. Where 12 Commandments, they were just like doing this crazy thing where everyone is hitting 550. It didn't make sense. And now that they're a little down to earth, it's hard to like get back. So it's going to take a crazy, ridiculous, all-time Navy performance, or Ali Marshall rising to the occasion, or one of these guys that have gone ice cold to flip the
I
script.
think you just need Nutty or Barsano. We touched about it a little
We
bit.
need him, but they
They were
haven't
down
done it.
7-2, and they had second and third with the top of the order coming up. Nutty and Barsano,
Yeah.
and then Ali and Saban. And
Yeah.
they don't even get Ali up that inning.
I think
You
it's
know, that
over,
was
guys.
that
I
was
think it's
a,
over. Barsano, I know he's playing amazing defensively, but he basically hit 350 this
looks a
year.
little hurt
He
also.
went 7 for 7 in Week 7 against Nanu pitching.
Right.
Other than that, the guy hit 350 this year. So when has he never really got it going. Nutty was good the first 2-3 weeks. He's been ice cold ever since. Loudon, David Harari, all these guys that Pindeck that were hitting the cover off the ball, we haven't seen it in multiple weeks. We haven't seen it in months.
It's
now.
Ali,
It's
Shimmy,
been
and
months.
Saban. Shimmy's
So
in the big three. Shimmy's the big three.
Shimmy's phenomenal, and he is in the big three right now. And if those guys are not gonna,
It's like when you said Avi's the best hitter on block, I had that
Right.
same
Yeah.
thing. But if that's the case, then you're in trouble. If
Right.
Shimmy's your next best guy,
Right.
he's great.
so if those
But-
guys are not gonna continue to be this incredible version of themselves, I think it's very hard for 12 Commandments to win the series. But it's a game. It'll be, according to my prediction, a game 5 where anything could happen.
Yeah.
I'm leaning BRM due to the few mistakes that they make. They really play a clean brand of ball. I think that's going to carry them through. I don't know.
It could obviously switch on a dime with any of these picks. I actually had BRM in 5 originally, although we didn't have a show. Anyone that asked me, I told them I think BRM takes it. I'm a big believer in they want it the most. They just seem to want this more than anything in the world. Not just the guys screaming on the fence. You talk to any of them, they are obsessed. They're coming together. It has somewhat of an Expos type of feel to me. Like that's the clubhouse I remember where it's all we wanted. Even though the Pirates were the better bats and the better everything, we seem to just want it more. We're going to somehow take it. That's how I feel with BRM over the better bats and all that. If I had confidence in one guy breaking out of a slump, I have more confidence in Alco breaking out right now than I do in any of the slumping guys on the 12 Commandments. I
Yeah, me
just
too.
don't see it
Yeah,
happening.
I don't see it. That's why it's
I think
been
the
months now.
yeah,
It's been months.
And I think the moment's going to be too big. Jack hit something on the head. 9 a.m., no one's going to be here. Except me, maybe one of you. You know, you guys come early, but like Jigga will be here with the beach chair. 10:30, if you're down 2-1, you're going to have hundreds of people here usually.
Yeah.
You know, 11 a.m., you're going to have
all
a
of a
lot
sudden,
of
the
people
entire
here. Yeah.
vibe shifts, and
The vibe shifts. I think besides for Ali and Saban, the moment might be a little too big for BRM. For 12 Commandments. BRM may leave tomorrow
wow,
with
wow.
the championship,
Wow.
in my opinion.
Is that your official prediction?
I originally said BRM in 5. I think they could take it in 4. I
Wow.
really do. I really do. I just
Is
feel
that
like
the official prediction?
That's my official prediction because I feel they're a team of destiny. They've been through a lot. The league office bashed them for a month straight. They got through it. They got through it the right way. Not originally, but they turned the corner. And they just seem to be one unit. You talk to any person on the team, they're all aligned. They're all on the same page. To me, that usually translates. I'm going BRM in 4.
Unbelievable. Great
Guys,
series.
What a series.
Great season.
Season was
You know why
amazing.
I think the 12 Commandments can't have one of those sloppy wins? Because it's Yedid and AB. It's not AB Cohen versus Leo where we had 4 bad games in that series until the great game. All the games are going to be tight, and I think BRM wins the tight game. From Fireman's West with 4-time champ Zach Ashkenazi, 2-time champ Insane? What was the difference? Insane and Untouchables, Jack Abady. I'm Norman Jamal. We will see you here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.
Thank you,
Game
Norman.
3 and 4 of the World Series. Thank you, guys.